if you think BBC, you don't trust them much, do you? You just said.
Well, the BBC for me are they're just focusing on the. I was saying to Anna, they're just focusing on the young people now. But when it comes to news and politics, they're a government tool.
Well,
they're so scared of having the subscription taken away from the government that they will follow the government line. You'll notice, just as an example, the BBC never talk about Brexit at the moment because the government doesn't want to talk about Brexit. They're a government tool, the BBC. They filter what the government wants.
But all the way through Brexit, they were telling us we shouldn't do it.
Well, I'd have to disagree with that, Simon. I mean, Nigel Farage was the most popular guest on Question Time. He got more airtime than anyone else. So I wouldn't agree with that at all.
There would be him on his own, and then there'd be just like a tirade of lefties and a hand-picked audience that would just give him rakes of grief. And that
goes back to what the government's line at the moment, David Cameron's government at that time, was pro-European. So it doesn't surprise me that they take. That's what I'm saying. The BBC will take the line of the government at the time. The government right now is pro-Brexit. So they'll be pro-Brexit, but at the time of the referendum, the government was anti-Brexit.
Right, our government are not pro-Brexit, right? Because at the moment they're trying to give us is it Sweden style job? Well, we wanted to leave completely. We want to be in charge of our own borders. We want to be in charge of our laws, our economy, and everything else. We just wanted to be the island again, right? What they're doing now is they're trying to give us I think it's a Swedish style or a.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That's not what we argue for. We wanted to totally leave.
A Swiss model.
Yeah, so that's what they're trying, which is not what we voted for.
Well, because the Conservative government has taken about 3 different stages at the moment. Yeah, the Sunak government right now, Sunak and Jeremy Hunt government have realised the insane effect that Brexit is having on our economy. So they're trying to get closer to the EU. If you go back to Liz Truss, she was extremely pro-Brexit because that's where her voter base is. You go back to Boris Johnson, his whole career is Brexit. That's the reason that he was prime minister, because of Brexit.
Do you not think we're being punished for Brexit? We're being punished for Brexit. We should never have been given the choice to leave. That's the way a lot of them look at it. And we can't be seen to prosper out Brexit. No chance at all. Because if we did, others would want to leave. So they've got to hit us as hard as... No, exactly. They don't want us to look like we did the right thing, because maybe Italy might have a go. Maybe Spain might have a go. So everything...
Well, there wasn't it. What I remember a few years ago, there was talks about Italy wanting to have a referendum, the same as we did. So it would be a bit of a domino effect. I'm surprised there hasn't been more countries.
Well, no, because they're seeing the devastating effect that it's having on our economy. Now, this is the thing. You can have an argument for Brexit on the grounds of, borders, and even though that's a farce, the immigrants coming over the channel has got worse than Brexit. But you can have that argument about laws and rules and stuff like that. But there is no economic argument for Brexit. There isn't one. It doesn't make this country richer, and that's what these countries, like you said, Italy and maybe other countries that were thinking about leaving the EU, they've seen what it's done to our economy.
I'd sooner be poorer and have nothing to do with that, the way that they run Europe. Now, I like European people, and I believe that every country should have its own sovereignty. I don't want to lose mine to there, and I will not. If I will fight as hard as I can from my side to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, I can't stand this government. This is the most corrupt government we've had in the history of this country.
Right, I agree on that basically they've spent that much money, they've put us under lockdown, they've done all sorts of things, right? However, do you think that if we got a Labour government in there, it would all be good again?
No, I don't think that we'll have Labour utopia land. But for me, the Labour Party will always be slightly better for the working class. During the 2000s, during the 90s, things were slightly better. Okay. We had less homelessness. We had less. Who heard of a food bank back in 2000? It was slightly better. Look, we have a 2-party system that I can't stand in this country. We've talked about this, Anna, earlier in the programme. We have the choice between red and blue. We have the choice between right and left. And these parties have to try and persuade
Labour's for the working man.
More so than the Tories, yes, without a doubt. The Tory party are the aristocracy. They only care about the rich in this country. I'm not saying Labour are perfect. I'm not saying Labour are going to bring some utopia land where everything is great. But they will. When we have the choice between two, they will always be the better option.
I've got a question, because I mean I think that it's like on South Park, they're either is a giant douche or a turd sandwich at this point, particularly. But the reason why I really got put off Labour and really the left was how far they brought into identity politics, and that is a million miles away from what the average working class Joe is worried about.
Labour was set up for the working man, but if they are for the working man, why are they flooding it with immigration, which will dilute the amount of... There's only so many jobs out here at the moment, so if they dilute the market with all these people that are able to work coming over here, then what happens is when you've got too many people for a job, right, they can pay less because somebody's going to take it, and that's what happens. So I don't think that was the best thing that Labour ever did, being all for immigration. We don't need any more immigration. None.
We have so many job vacancies right now. So
Okay.
many job vacancies.
So how many
We
people
have
are
a
unemployed in
massive
the UK at the
shortage of
moment?
labour, an insane shortage of labour. Now, I don't think that we should open the doors and let anyone in. Of course, we have to have controlled immigration. But as far as I'm concerned, the positives way overdo any of the negatives with immigration that's coming here. We've made this country, boosted the economy, paid trillions in tax. Now, I don't like the way the Tories are
They send a
using
load
that
of money
tax money.
home, all right? And also we have to pay benefits for their people in their own country, because I work with these people, I get on with them and I quite like them, all right? But the fact of the matter still is,
But they pay
send money
tax.
home. No, they send money home, right?
They pay tax.
Right. In my particular career, right, when we work with the lorry drivers, a lot of them go for
Sorry,
self-employed.
just gonna stick the kettle on because
No
my
worries.
hands are
A
purple.
lot of them work self-employed and they don't pay the tax, and then they'll fuck off back, right? But that's in the self-employed stuff.
Well, I'm all for tightening up.
Yeah.
Right, because this is why we get so many migrants want to come here, because we're so loose with our cash in hand way, other than Europe, where you have ID cards and you have to.
A lot of them are, say for instance, they come in. There's, say for instance, a family of 4 or a family of 5, right? And they're on low income wages, so they get tax credits and all the rest of it. How much are they actually helping by paying the tax, right? Now, why is it we can't get our lazy British workers into work? Because we do have a lot of idle British people that could get off their ass and get a fucking job.
I think it's a very small minority. I don't think it's a big. There's not massive sweat. The majority of British people are in work. There's a very small amount that are taking benefits.
Really?
Yeah.
I can confirm, as someone who has worked in that's not true.
She worked in.
Where's the evidence? I think we've
she actually worked in an office.
The last time I saw it, I think there was 4 million unemployed, which is nothing. It's nothing when you bear in mind that 20% of that is students.
It's not just unemployed.
20% of that is disabled.
Yeah,
it's
not just unemployed. Like, it's someone who works part time. I get top up benefits. That still counts.
So they've only got to work a few hours a week, and that's classed as employed. So that, the figures aren't exactly black and white, as they say. But what, as a person of voting for the left, what do you think about all these people coming over the channel? You're closer to me than. Or you're closer to it than me happening at the moment.
Me and Anna were talking about that before, because I didn't vote for that, because
did anyone?
If you voted for Brexit, you did. Because
we left, you didn't vote for that at all. You didn't vote for illegals coming over the border.
In 2020, we had about 1,000 channel crossings. In 2021, once we left the European Union, what are we on? About 40,000 now. Because we're not in the European Union, France will not take those boats back. They have no obligation to do anything. When we're in the European Union,
you go over and get them. You know that yourself, right? The other thing is we pay France a set amount a year to make sure this doesn't happen, and they still let it happen. But
they've offered to put an asylum centre in France to stop channel crossings overnight, to get processed over there. But the sheer fact, the point I'm making is, as a collective in the EU, we dealt with migration as a collective. The first safe country they went into, they had to stay there. When people were trying to cross over the English Channel, the French took them back. They stopped them from doing it. There's no coincidence that the year that we leave the European Union,
the French carry on
1,000 channel crossings to 40,000 channel crossings.
The French turn their back on a lot of it. But the thing is, these people aren't from a war-torn country, all of them, are they? They're Albanians. They're organised crime, and it's an organised crime outfit that's getting a lot of these people across.
So they've projected, I think it's 1% of Albanian working age men have come over to the UK on these criminal.
It's now 2% actually. 2% have left of working age men have left Albania to come over here and have a wonderful career doing whatever it is they do. And I'll try and be nice about that. So, but yeah.
Vanma, what would you propose for people coming over here illegally then?
I just made my point that I didn't want that in the first place. If we were still in the European Union, we wouldn't have these channel crossings. But because we're outside and legal routes have been turned away now, people are more desperate, and that's why they're coming over to the channel. Sorry, what was your original question?
What are they desperate for, though? What are they desperate for?
Well, I mean, we just mentioned that we don't have the majority of people that are already in France that want to come over here. We're not tight on work. They can get easy work over here, cash in hand work, unregistered work. It's much easier to be an illegal and get work over here than it is over in France. That's why they're coming over.
So they're not coming for a good reason. They're coming over here because, well, I mean, if you're going to break the law anyway, that doesn't show very good faith, does it, coming into a country? If you're willing to break the law and cross the channel illegally, after you've thrown your passport into the sea, right? Because you might not actually be from a war-torn country, God forbid, then it's not a very good sign to start with. But the French, after we left Brexit, went, well, screw them. And
again, why are we putting the blame on France?
Well, because that's where they're coming from. They're not coming direct. They're not coming direct from the war-torn country, are they?
With our borders.
Okay, they set off from a French shore to get here, right? Yeah. That's why I'm blaming France.
But why? When we were in the European Union,
well, I tell you, if they were coming from Spain, I won't blame Spain. Oh, so us leaving the EU, they must then say fuck it and punish us by letting all of these people across, and because there is video footage, quite a bit of video footage of the services over there seeing what's happening and just let it happen. And I don't know if you ever heard of a guy called Active Patriot. He was the one that was down at Dover all the time watching them come across, and he made contact with people who were on the beaches over there. The services knew what was happening, didn't want to know in so much as they turned their back on it. And sometimes the Brit or the French border forces would escort them away, and then we would go into French waters to collect these people. Now, how is that ever right?
It just shouldn't be happening in the first place.
We agree.
No, it really shouldn't be.
There should. I'm in favour of getting legal routes for these people to come over. And
I'm in favour of none of them coming and turning them back and dumping them on France.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I want to focus on here, and this is the problem that I have, is why this country is so focused on this issue. And it's my belief that this is just taking the attention away from how corrupt our government is. They love this. The Tories love us focusing on immigrants. Focus on the immigrants. Don't look at us cycling away 32 billion on PPE, giving this billion to our donor mates. All this absolute corruption that's going on. But no, we're focusing. Look at the migrants coming over.
But how far does that corruption go? It's not just them and their Tory mates. We're talking about people that are faceless, billions, trillions of pounds that get paid.
Let me let you into a little secret about the right. We don't like the Tories either. We hate them, right? We fucking hate them.
I know, and I'm trying to not
I
look
don't
at
like the
this
Conservatives.
as a left-right.
Yeah, because that's the trap we're actually falling into here. Now, you and I might disagree on massive amounts, but that's what they want, right? Now, the Labour and the Conservative go to the same university, they go through the same meat grinder, and they came out. And I can't actually believe
I'd have to disagree. There's a much more substantial amount of Tory MPs that go to Oxford and Cambridge than Labour. Much bigger percentage of Labour MPs are from working class.
I mean, they have cherry-picked lately. They've got a lot of
Angela Rayner.
The ones that tick the boxes, and Angela Rayner. Now, she's not your shining moment, is she there? Diane Abbott's not actually doing too well. Yeah, but there again, if you go, but what about Tories? Please don't, because I don't like them, right? I actually thought...
No, I'm not using that as an argument against you, Simon. I'm just saying that this is the case. I'm not trying to imply that you support this government or these guys. I'm just saying that this is the situation that we've got at the moment.
And in living memory...
You must want to focus on migrants and not what's going on with insane corruption.
It's corruption. I mean, look at Blair, how popular he was. And he is, in my living memory, the worst prime minister we've ever had. He has done such a number on this country.
The reason I focus on these migrants is I actually see them as a physical threat in the future to me because of their ideologies, right, that they're coming over with, because they're all men, not women.
When you say they, you're talking all immigrants into this country, every single one of them, or a small minority.
No, I'm saying the fighting age men that are coming across the channel, they're the threat to us. No, if we're talking about, say, for instance,
they just want to come and work and send money back.
If you believe that, you're very naive.
Did you see the Albanian independence shut down?
What are they here for then? Sorry,
they're here for. They're here to dilute down. They're here to take the benefits, right?
They're here to dilute.
Dilute our culture for a kickoff. I mean, look at London. No, look at London.
Did you see what happened in London?
They're escaping war.
No, they're not.
Albania is not a war-torn country. It's a NATO country.
Albania is one country out of the tens of different countries. Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq. They're escaping war. They're trying to make a better life for themselves.
They escaped war years ago. They've been through numerous European countries. They don't need to be here. They were safe there. End off. End off.
They're here because they can work.
They're here for benefits. They're here to come and
English.
What? I mean, most of the world can speak English, right?
No, but the point you were making, Simon, you said they're specifically coming here to dilute our culture. You said that's the reason they're coming. Do you honestly believe that?
I truly believe that they're going to be bad for our country in every way.
But you said that was their motivation for coming.
No, their motivation is they've been told by NGOs, which are usually left-wingers, to get their ass over here for as free benefits as they can get. We have the best benefit system. They get let know, and they get sent this way.
£170 a week, Aspen cards. I think
we looked at what the benefit system was. Journey's a second, right? And it goes down like that. We have the best benefit system for them. I mean, when you get taken off ashore and put up in a 4-star or a 5-star hotel, now the Holiday Inn.
I'm not going to defend the way this government deal with immigration and putting them up in hotels. No one's going to defend that. The way that
I would have them turn back and find out which country they're from and drop them straight back in it. That's what I would do.
I'm just shocked. We're so far apart on this issue.
We are. I don't like them. I don't want them here because I don't think they're going to do us any good in the long run.
Right.
I see them doing this when they're coming up the gangplank because I've been down there and greeted these people. Was polite, didn't say anything, just looked. They're like that to us, right? You have to meet.
You know, in most countries, that's peace.
No, that's peace.
That's peace.
In most countries, that's peace.
Right. So when they're doing that as well,
because that's an English insult.
That's the American version.